Let's now take a closer look at the relationship between repair statuses of service items and the entire service order status. In service order setup and configuration, we discussed the setup, the configuration of repair status codes and service order status codes. And we have 9 repair status codes and 4 service order status codes. And remember, there was one page where you had to link repair status codes with service order status codes. Now let's have a look back on those relationships. First of all, let's have a look at the service order status pending. What does that mean? So that means basically that your service order can start, or the service on the service items can start or continue at any time. And you can link that with repair status codes of initial, referred, partly serviced and spare parts received. A service order status code of in process means that the service is continuing, is in process, people are working on it, and you can link that with repair status codes of in process and spare part ordered or received. We also had the service order status code of on hold, which links with repair status codes of quote finished, spare part ordered and waiting for customer. And then finally we had a service order status finished, which links with repair status codes of finished. So let's have a look in NAV how when you update a repair status code on a service item, that will have an impact on the service order status code. And which impact? Well, that is depending on the link between a repair status code and a service order status code. And it's following basically what we have explained here. So I've made a new service order here, and immediately when you make a new service order with one, in this case one service item, you see here that we have repair status code initial, and that links with this service order status code pending. That's exactly the same as we had on the slide here before. So if I'm going to change now the repair status code to in process, what will happen? Well, according to what we have seen, the service order status code should also switch to in process. And what can we see? The status code has been switched to in process. Now, what will happen when we, for instance, say we are waiting for a customer? So if you say, well, there's something coming up, we are waiting for the customer. Let's have a look here, waiting for the customer. If I do that, then like expected, the service order status code is going to change to on hold. Now let's again change that repair status code from waiting customer to again in process. So maybe we had information from the customer and we could, we started again working. Then you see in process is also the status code now for the service order. Then maybe at some point you say like, okay, let's have a look, and let's say that the service is finished. And then you will see also that the status here is finished. So as you can see, your repair and your status, your repair status code and your service order status code are connected. They are linked. They are following the links that you have made in your configuration. And in this example, it's also quite straightforward because you have only one service item on your lines. And so it's very easy to follow that status here, the linkage between both. It becomes much more complicated, of course, when you have 2, 3, 4 or 5 service items on service item lines, because then there needs to be a summarization actually of what the real status is. And remember, we also discussed it in configuration with an example. It's going to follow then the repair status code with the highest priority. So that will be the repair status with the highest priority, will be the status code that is going to impact your service order status code. So it's of course much more complicated than a one-on-one relationship here between the service item and the order and the status. So after all these explanations, you're now ready to try and do it yourself. So please take the following practice.